Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. In this Explainer, we're going to focus on a truly fascinating topic, understanding how organizations actually execute complex initiatives. We're talking about the science of execution, really demystifying the whole world of project management. We'll be looking at how massive goals are broken down, how teams are structured, and the literal actual math used to keep people from burning out. If you've ever wondered how towering skyscrapers get built on time or how complex software launches seemingly overnight, well, you are in the exact right place. To kind of ground this somewhat abstract concept into a relatable, everyday scenario, let's just imagine you want to go on a vacation to another country. Do you just pack a bag, show up at the airport, and catch a random flight? I mean, probably not, right? You make a plan. You decide how many days you'll stay, which hotel fits your budget, and maybe what time of year has the best weather. You shortlist the sites you want to see. The exact same logic applies to organizational projects. If a company just throws resources at a goal without planning, things are missed, money is completely wasted, and reputations are damaged. Project management is simply that essential, proactive approach to getting things done right. All right, so here is a roadmap for today. We'll cover 1. What exactly is a project? 2. The traditional approach. 3. The Agile evolution. 4. Comparing Agile and traditional. 5. The resource leveling problem. And finally, 6. Strategies for leveling resources. Let's dive right in. Starting off with Section 1. What is a project? Let's define our terms. So, here we have the most widely accepted definition put forward by the Project Management Institute. A project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. The key words you really want to pay attention to here are temporary and unique. This is what separates a project from a company's ongoing operations. You see, ongoing operations are continuous. They just keep the lights on and produce the exact same product over and over again. A project, however, is fundamentally discrete. It has a definitive, clear-cut starting line and a definitive finish line. Once that unique deliverable is accepted by the client, the project is officially over. Moving on to Section 2, the traditional approach, also known as plan-driven methods. This approach, which is often called the waterfall methodology, actually has its roots in heavy engineering, physical construction, and defense programs, way back in the 1950s. Just think about building an oil refinery or maybe a submarine. In that physical world, having a perfect, unchangeable blueprint before you pour a single ounce of concrete is really the only way to succeed. Because of this, the traditional approach is highly plan-driven. The client has clearly specified the goal right up front, and the project team has defined exactly how they're going to reach it. What's absolutely crucial to understand here is that this method has a very, very low tolerance for change. The plan is considered sacred, and success is driven strictly by compliance to those initial time and budget constraints. Which brings us to Section 3, the Agile evolution and adaptive workflows. So in 2001, a massive culture shift occurred, summarized brilliantly by the Agile Manifesto. It states, individuals and interactions over processes and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation. This quote, it represents a total pivot. A real game changer. Instead of relying on those rigid, unchangeable blueprints we just talked about, the focus shifted entirely toward human adaptability and producing tangible, actually working results quickly. Agile was born out of the fast-paced world of software development, where, let's face it, requirements change incredibly quickly. If you try to use traditional methods for software, you might end up with a massive final integration at the very end that is just riddled with defects, or worse, totally misses what the customer actually wanted. Instead, Agile breaks massive goals down into bite-sized iterative chunks, often called sprints, lasting just 2 to 3 weeks. After every single short sprint, there's a constant business feedback loop where the client evaluates the working increment. It requires completely transparent communication and a super high degree of team collaboration, often involving daily stand-up meetings. So I want you to reflect for a second. Does your team work in these short, transparent cycles, or are you still trying to blueprint everything a whole year in advance? Let's move into Section 4, comparing Agile and traditional frameworks directly. What's really interesting here is the direct clash between the heavy plan-first mentality and the adapt and iterate reality of modern knowledge work. Traditional project management relies heavily on comprehensive documentation and a command and control leadership style, where the project manager basically dictates the entire sequence of work. Agile, on the other hand, relies on self-organizing teams. The higher-level objectives are explained to the team, and then the team members themselves are actually empowered to figure out the best way to accomplish those tasks.
It proceeds with the understanding that the perfect solution just won't happen without fully embracing adaptability and change.
And Robert Kiyosaki's project management landscape pyramid brilliantly illustrates how these ideas actually exist out there in the real world. Notice the corners. You've got traditional, agile, extreme, and then hybrid right in the middle. This proves there really is no one-size-fits-all solution. It's a spectrum. If you are building a bridge across a river, you definitely still want a traditional approach. But if you're developing a new mobile app, Agile is for sure your best bet. And honestly, a lot of organizations are finding themselves somewhere right in the middle, using hybrid models to fit the unique characteristics of their specific projects. The methodology absolutely must adapt to the project, not the other way around. All right, Section 5, the resource leveling problem. Let's talk about managing workloads. This gets to the absolute heart of everyday execution, resource leveling. When we compare jagged, over-allocated random variations against a smooth ideal profile, the contrast is wild. In the real world, if you just randomly assign tasks based on when they can theoretically start, you're going to end up with a chaotic schedule where a team member works 60 hours one week and like 10 hours the next. This on-again, off-again resource allocation completely destroys morale, it causes severe burnout, and it leads to massive inefficiencies. The main goal of a project manager here is to take those over-allocated spikes and smooth them out into that ideal balanced profile. So the really crucial point here is the math behind how we actually prove a schedule is smooth, using something called the minimum moment concept. Okay, stick with me here. Imagine you have 16 units of work to assign over 2 days. If you assign them poorly, say you drop all 16 units on day 1 and 0 on day 2, squaring those resources creates a massive mathematical peak. But if you level them out to 8 units on the first day and 8 on the second, the sum of those squared numbers actually drops significantly, down to 64. This minimum moment mathematically proves you've achieved the flattest, most ideal workload distribution possible. It isn't just a gut feeling, it is an optimized mathematical reality. And that leads us to our final part, Section 6, strategies for leveling resources and optimizing those schedules. Let's look at how this builds into real-world execution by detailing the exact levers a project manager can pull to fix this. Number 1, utilize available slack. Slack is essentially the amount of delay a task can take without delaying the entire project. You can strategically delay those non-critical tasks to help balance out the workload. Number 2, if you have literally no slack left, you might just have to shift the project finish date entirely, delaying the schedule to protect your team from total burnout. And number 3 is smoothing. This is a very specific optimization technique where you adjust activities strictly within their available float boundaries, ensuring you balance the resource demand without ever affecting the project's critical path or that final deadline. Well, we have covered a whole lot of ground today, right? From the rigid blueprints of the traditional 1950s methodologies to the hyper-adaptable, self-organizing agile sprints of today, all the way down to the literal mathematical science of leveling out your team's workload to prevent burnout. I want to leave you with this final thought. Take a really close look at how your organization operates tomorrow morning. Are you trying to force a traditional plan onto a project that desperately demands an agile mindset? Are your team members suffering from those jagged 60-hour spikes in their workload just because no one is utilizing available slack? Ultimately, which methodology and resource strategy best fits your current team? Thank you so much for exploring the science of execution with me on this explainer. Until next time, keep analyzing, keep optimizing, and keep learning.